Under Secretary General for Counterterrorism at the United Nations, Mr. Vladimir Voronkov, thank you for being with us here today. It's a pleasure and an honor to have you with us tonight.
Yusuf, thank you very much for inviting me for this interview. Ready to answer your questions.
Undersecretary, how do you see the broad international participation in the conference? As well, how do you see the importance of the state of Kuwait hosting such a major event?
It's very interesting and good question. It was a big positive feeling that so big number of member states decided to participate in this conference. You know, the invitation was sent to 115 countries. 92 of them decided to participate. I think it's absolutely the evidence that counterterrorism is still very high priority in every national agenda, and it means that unfortunately the threat of terrorism is still high, and member states of the United Nations are looking for the better action, more united efforts with regard to countering terrorism. And from this perspective, this conference is very timely. This conference is designed to have a substantive answer on difficult questions. The discussions for 2 days were very intensive and result-oriented, and the outcome is absolutely obvious. We have new declaration on Dushanbe process, Kuwait phase, and this declaration is a composition of very practical engagement to be taken together with the state of Kuwait in the next period of time. Moreover, it will be a kind of evaluation mechanism established, because the next conference of that kind, it was agreed, will take place in New York in 2 years' time. And one of the tasks of the conference in New York will be to understand how fast we are moving forward in implementation of our efforts in more effective countering of terrorism. So I think these are numbers which proves that we are on the right track, that we are working together with member states. We are listening member states, and we're trying to accommodate our agenda to the demands and needs of member states. And my words of gratitude to the government, to the leadership of Kuwait, to the government of Kuwait for very strong contribution to the success of the conference, and the general support of the United Nations system. Much appreciated.
Undersecretary, what are the most prominent outcomes of the Dushanbe Counterterrorism Conference?
First of all, we can see a strong will of member states to continue to develop cooperation. Our hectic world, our very dramatic development in many parts of the world created not very good atmosphere for international relations and international politics. But speaking about counterterrorism, I can assure you, Yusuf, that this is still very strong will to cooperate. This is very strong will to work for practical outcomes. This is a very strong will to understand each other, to listen to each other concerns. But first of all, this is a common understanding that this is really a very significant and real threat for many parts of the world. And no one country is immune. So only working together with the understanding that this is the most effective and the only way forward, we could achieve our goal to have a world free from terrorism.
Mr. Vladimir, before we conclude, is there anything you would like to say or add to the people of Kuwait?
I'm admired by very fast development of this country, and I know that from the point of view of international relations, Kuwait is one of the leading countries, not in the region, but globally. So, because I am a former diplomat, of course, I could make my assessment of the activities and outcomes of the activities of the diplomacy of the state of Kuwait. And my very humble definition could be perfect. And the conference showed this.
Mr. Undersecretary General for Counterterrorism at the United Nations, Mr. Vladimir Voronkov, it's been a pleasure to host you here with us tonight, and thank you for joining us. And we are very happy that you're with us in Kuwait.
Thank you, Yusuf. Thank you for this
Appreciate it.
discussion.